All right, in this video, we'll go over some of yesterday's amazing Virgin Wick Theory setups. There were actually so many A+ bangers, and personally, I was able to catch 2 of them and make 1.1k across my 2 funded accounts. I went 2 wins, 1 loss for a total of plus 3R. But quick note before we jump into those, I've been seeing you guys crushing it, sharing banger setups with me in my DMs and my comments lately, and I really like seeing that, but it's getting a bit overwhelming and all over the place with DMs and random comments all over the place. So I'm just setting up a free Discord called Virgin Wick Theory Traders, where we can just post setups, talk about refining the strategy, and share how we're setting up indicators, for example, and just ask questions and all that good stuff. Yeah, I just think it'll be easier to have everything in one place where we can all chat instead of all over the place. But super important note is, just because there's a Discord, don't expect me to answer every single question and be super active and hold your hand through every single trade. It's just a gathering place for us to talk about Virgin Wick Theory, and I know a lot of you guys have been wanting it. So yeah, it's completely free. I'll put the link in the pinned comment and description if you want to join. All right, let's get into yesterday's trades. Oh, and real quick, shout out to another community shout out, another member of our community, Gary, who just passed 3 evals trading Virgin Wick Theory. Yeah, this is another reason why I made the Discord, so you guys can share these wins with each other instead of like DMing me and then having to reshare them with everyone. So yeah, I think that'll be good. But shout out to Gary, keep crushing it and get those payouts. All right, so real quick summary of the strategy or a refresher. We're trading Virgin Wick Theory, so we're waiting for Virgin Wicks, which is untouched wicks like this one, to get closed through. Here, this one gets closed through by this bullish Chad candle, creating our bullish point of interest from that Virgin Wick level. We mark that off, then we drop down to the 1 minute time frame, wait for price to trade below the POI into a FVG, and then we wait for a change in state of delivery or an IFVG back to the upside. Super simple. Don't worry, we'll go over a bunch of examples from yesterday. All right, let's start with NQ. I believe I shared this in yesterday's video, but we'll go over it anyways. So this was the last Asia session, so Thursday, 29th of January. Let me turn everything off just so it's cleaner. Okay, so 8 p.m. candle closes through this and this. So these are your bearish points of interest. Then from 9 p.m., we can drop down to the 1 minute time frame, wait for price to engage with the POIs and higher time frame FVGs. Let me move this. Okay, bang, POI has been engaged. And if you'll notice, this is an extended POI. So normally, I used to trade only taking trades when the POI is engaged within the first hour that is created. But now I trade them as long as they haven't been engaged or they haven't been used yet, then they are still valid. So in this case, this one is over an hour, but it's still valid. So POI gets engaged. Let's turn our higher time frame FVGs on. Yep, perfect. There's a bunch there, a bunch of resistance. So that's exactly what we want to see. And then there is a SysD here. I'll just go over a quick example over a SysD. So where's our last swing high? This is the last swing high that got taken out. Swing high defined by a 3 candle pattern where the middle candle has a higher wick than the ones next to it. So it's a swing high. And it gets taken out by this leg of liquidity, or this leg. And in this leg, we want to look at the highest closing up candle. So this one, and if it's consecutive with any, then we look at the lowest one. So the opening of that is your SysD. So I had my orders ready. Even when we were here, I had my order ready, I had my stop loss ready and my TP, and my risk was already set by the time we were here because I already marked off the SysD. And then as soon as we had this close right here, I pressed enter, bang. And then in the next immediate candle, I got tagged in on that wick and then went to TP in 3 minutes. Super nice trade, very nice trade. All right, moving on. All right, and then this is the win/loss that I had on the same hour. So this is NQ again during London yesterday. So 2 a.m. candle closes bearishly through this and this, creating your bearish points of interest. So from 3 a.m., let's go to the 1 minute time frame and wait for the POI to get engaged. Not yet, not yet. Bang, okay, POI gets engaged. Let's see if there are higher time frame FVGs. Yep, perfect. There are some there. There's a 5 minute and a 15 minute there. So now we are just waiting for our entry model, which could be an IFVG or a change in state of delivery. And bang, there was an IFVG, so I entered in here. Although it is a very small one, and as you may or may not know, smaller IFVGs are generally smaller, lower probability. You want to see the really thick ones get closed through. That's like A++. But I try to be as mechanical as possible. I've already set my IFVG settings, so if I see any, I will take them. So I saw this one and I took it. I entered in here, put my stop just around there, targeting these lows, but capping it at 2R. And I got stopped out pretty much immediately. But of course, we never give up on our POIs because price continued to go higher, and then we then got a SysD entry. So why is this a SysD entry? Here is the last swing high that got taken out. And it got taken out by this leg. And since it is consecutive candles, let's go to the lowest one and the opening of that. There is your SysD. So I was already on the charts and watching, so I had my order prepared even a few candles before. And as soon as this closed, I just had to hit enter, and I got wicked in, got tagged in on the very next candle with that wick, and then straight to TP in a few minutes. So I made back this loss and a bit more. So those were my 3 trades for the day. Like I said, 2 wins, 1 loss. And since I traded Asia and London, I decided to take New York off. Just because I try not to trade all 3 sessions, just for lifestyle and mental health reasons. But if you did trade New York, you probably would have won massively because there were quite a few bangers. Let's go over New York session. All right, so this is on gold now. We're at 7 a.m. candle, yesterday's New York session. So we get a bearish close through this virgin wick, creating your bearish point of interest. So let's have a look. Okay, POI gets engaged. Let's see why I've got that marked off. Do we have, okay, yeah, we tapped into a 5 minute FVG. So both of those criteria have been met. Now we just need a change in state of delivery, which would be here, this candle. And if you're ever unsure, you can just turn this on. Oh no, this one. And it'll tell you, bang. So there you get a confirmed SysD, but I'll just turn these off because it's cleaner. So you could set your order here at the SysD level, stop at these highs, and target 2R. Something like that. And you get tagged in and bang. Nice, very good, very good. Yeah, and even if you miss that entry, you do get another SysD like here, I believe. Yeah, so you get a few chances at it. Really nice. I know a bunch of you guys caught this one because you guys were sharing with me on Twitter. So very nice. And then there was actually another setup in the immediate next hour. So, all right, let me get rid of these. Okay, so then the 8 a.m. candle closes bearishly through this Virgin Wick, creating a bearish point of interest. So let's go to 9 a.m. and have a look. All right, POI gets engaged. Let's see if, okay, high time frame FEG has been engaged. And you do have a SysD actually. So this is one of those cases where you would have to take one loss before you get a win. So here is everything you need to enter the trade. So you would enter here, you've got your SysD, you've got your high time frame FEG, and your POI has been engaged. But I believe this gets stopped out. Yep. And then we go further up into these FEGs, followed by an IFEG. And I know some of you guys caught this one. Dnox DM'd me this one. I think he caught this one. And then, yeah, on that confirmed IFEG, you get a dump down. Very nice. So yeah, like I say, never give up on your POIs. There will always be, not always, but sometimes there will be a second entry, and a lot of the times the second attempt is the one that gets you the win. Very nice. There were also some pretty good New York PM trades. I personally don't trade New York PM because I'm sleeping. I think some of you guys trade New York PM, but yeah, let's go over it anyways, because I saw some really good ones. So, all right, let's go here. $11 a.m. candle closes bearishly through this and this. So these are your bearish points of interest. Okay, let's have a look. All right, waiting for POIs to get engaged. POIs have been engaged along with higher time frame FEGs. So let's see if we get an entry model. Bang, okay. So there is a SysD here, as you can see from our indicator. Right there. So you would have to put your order there, stop at those highs. Targeting tour, but it looks like you never get tagged in, actually. Okay. Never mind. But yeah, this is the reality of trading this model. Sometimes you will have really nice setups, but you just don't get tagged in. And that is okay. You have to be okay with that. You will not catch everyone. And I believe in the immediate next hour, 1 p.m., there was another setup. Let me use my CCT indicator so I don't have to go back to the 1 hour. Okay, so there's a POI here. Let's see if it gets engaged. Bang, POI gets engaged, and a 15-minute FVG gets engaged. So if we're looking for a SysD, it would be here. Nope, looks like we make another high. So the SysD would now be here. Bang. No, you don't actually get it. Bang, okay, there you get it. So limit order there, stop at that high, targeting tour. Very nice, very nice. I believe that was it. Yeah, very nice. Yeah, that's all the trades for today. Hope you learned something. Feel free to join the Discord. Hope to see you there.